Hello, Mario. Hello, Mario. Hello, Mario.
Why is Big Floppa still here? Huh? Chat, why is Big Floppa still here? You seeing this? You seeing this guy? Because I'm seeing him. Unfortunately, I'm still seeing him. Hold on just a sec. I need to refresh the cache on the goddamn chat because it's not working again. I see Floppa. You sure fucking do. He was funny last week. This week, he's not so funny. I'm gonna get rid of him. Where is he? There he is. He's right there. Okay. No more Big Floppa. Big Floppa is done. We're done with Big Floppa, everyone. Hi. Hi, my name's Rapisto. I'm the president of the Long Boy Club, the very large enjoyer of all things gaming, wrestling, other hyperfixations, and my stinky cat. Tonight, we are continuing on with Uh, what? Wait, what are we doing? Hold on, I need to think. What are we doing again? Oh yeah, that's right. We're doing Gina's playthrough in WWE 2K24. And you know, last time, our girl Gina had a bit of a character shift. She had a bit of a character shift, and now she's a filthy heel. She's a filthy heel, everyone. She has paired up with Rhea Ripley, and by association has, in fact, joined the Judgment Day under the same umbrella as Shining Wizard on SmackDown, but now it's also on Raw, thanks to Gina, who still has not been on a pay-per-view at all. I must remind everyone, she's still not been on a pay-per-view.
Hello, Mario.
I haven't been around much lately. After what happened last Tuesday, I was feeling too depressed to interact with anyone and needed the solitude. So unsure about returning to social media at this point. I would say go to Blue Sky, because that's where I am. I'm going to Blue Sky, and I am not going to not be on Blue Sky for the foreseeable future. It is something that I plan on making a permanent shift to, for the most part, in the coming months, rather in the coming weeks, because Twitter is just not fun. It's not fun anymore. So go and follow me over there, why don't you? Go follow me over there. I hope you do not need to justify your absence to me at all, man. If you need to take a break, go and do it. You know? It's alright. I do not begrudge you for that. Hell, like I said in the Discord, even New Legacy has a Blue Sky now. Everyone's getting a Blue Sky, dude. Everyone's getting a Blue Sky these days. It does have a tinge of, like, the internet before things really got corporatized, you know? Because, like, you're able to more eloquently kind of break people up into their own kind of fandoms and stuff like that. The people on it, they feel a lot more ready to, you know, partake in things positively. Like, the way that people interact with wrestling on Twitter compared to how they interact with it on Blue Sky is like night and day. It's a completely different beast, you know? Yeah, exactly. You have a lot more control over what you see on there. Never really liked Twitter even before Musk bought the site, so I'm not sure if I like Blue Sky. Fair enough. But if you are able to, if you come around to it, I would recommend Blue Sky if you want some sort of alternative to Twitter. Either way, I did put my link up there. You should follow me on there. Anyone that has not followed me on there yet, because we have a lot of fun over there. It's a very good website, I would say, so far. What? Uh-oh. Where were you, Kev? Kevin? Where were you? Where were you, man? There you were. What the hell? Okay, fine. Fine, you can go ahead and do that, Kev. Just completely just shit all over my friggin' aspirations and my dreams. That's fine. That's all right.
Mario.
Damn, I can't believe Kevin didn't show up. He showed up in spirit. He showed up in spirit and he still caused explosions. I want to do a stream. He blew out his cheekbone. He did. Ow! Ow! Oh my god, giant rose. But yeah, we're gonna be doing some fun stuff tonight, everyone. We're gonna be continuing Gina's descent into villainy. But I'm gonna go over there right now. But before we get started, why was Sheik so big? LOL. I don't know. Why was he like this? Ow. Is he still... Fuck! Maybe Kev didn't show up because the Eds broke his bike again. Yeah, they broke it with Dorkinese. Anyways. What the fuck was that? Oh yeah, that's right. I have some bad news and some good news, chat. The bad news is that I'm getting older, as probably many of you know. I am no longer the spry chicken that I was back when I started when I was 14. I am now 25.
Hello,
And
Mario.
with that... Oh, glitch! 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 Glitch, over on the Wrestle Sky. Hello! Hello, how are you doing? What's up? It's been a while since I've seen you around these parts. Ever since I've seen you in the Long Boy Club. I'm 35. Oh my god. Everyone... okay. If we're about to like age profile ourselves, we may as well all do it. I'm much older than 35. Oh, I know you are, Glitch. But I'm happy to have you here. The Long Boy Club transcends age, alright? We got people who are like 21 to people who are like 49. I am not ageist at all. I'm not ageist at all. So, everyone is welcome here. Long Boy Club for life. But yeah, the bad news is that I'm getting older. And not only am I getting older, my hair is showing it. So I'm going to, I'm used to being the youngest in the community. Ow. So I have to show you the results of getting older and, being a man in the current year. And this is it. This right here is your immersion break, everyone. This is me. It is pretty awesome, honestly. I think I pull off the bald look pretty well, honestly. I no longer have hair. Really. I no longer have hair. I'm getting to a point where, like, I'm literally just shaving my head every day. I'm getting to a point where I'm shaving my head every single day because, honestly, I bald my eyes! Well, listen. You sick fucking deed. But look, I think that I am a handsome young lad. Alright, I'm gonna put on some good music here. Are we gonna hear it? Nope, you do not hear my stream deck. Hold on just a second. Stream deck. Where are you? Where are you, Stream Deck? Give me just a second here. Chat. I knew I was okay, there you go. Cool. But yeah, unfortunately, like probably some of you, my hairline is not so good. I saw you posted you were live over on Blue Sky, so I had to pop over. I appreciate it, my friend. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you could see my bald, the start of my bald era here. And I think I'm gonna keep it. I think I'm gonna keep this look because honestly, I think I pull it off well. You know, I think I pull it off well. Obviously, it creates a disconnect between my model. You know, it creates a bit of a disconnect between me and my model. But I think I look pretty good with it. So I guess that's like good news part one, but I have been letting my hair grow back, but I want to shave again. Listen, at the very least, you and I don't need to worry about shampoo all that much. I still do it. I still do it sometimes if I have a little bit of hair, because, you know, I want to keep the chrome dome nice and smooth. But yeah, so like that's part of the good news is that I look good without hair. So did you get the WCW pack for 2K24? Aside from the first DLC pack, I'm not getting any of the others. Because what I have learned is that if they are DLC in this game, they will be part of the base game next year. You know? That's kind of how they are, that's kind of how they've been. So, I would say that no, I do not have it and I don't plan on getting it. I'm very confused about something in the pack. What are you confused about? What are you confused about? Is it because there's Shiki Baby in there? Is it because of Shiki Baby in there? Because his inclusion is a little bit odd. The inclusion is a little bit odd for him. But I don't think it's so odd that you can't include him. Who doesn't like the... They threw Kurt Hennig in there and gave him his WWE name. No, they did? They didn't call him Kurt Hennig? Ugh. Fake game. Fake game. Stev face reveal. Yeah. Yeah. You never think the day would come. You never thought the day would come, but that's me. That's me right there. With my Hangman t-shirt. World on fire. One of the first good shirts that AEW's made in a long time. And it's for my guy. It's for my psychotic cowboy. For my man too pissed off to die cowboy. And he's right there. I fucking love Hangman Adam Page. I'm loving Jon Moxley as well. So, yeah. I'm loving Jon Moxley.
Hello, Mario.
Yeah, very would make you feel safe walking in a dark alley energy.
Hello, Mario.
Hello, Doomslayer. Hello, Shoujo. Hello. Hangman did nothing wrong. He did it. Okay, you know what?
Mina Shirakawa's mommy of AEW.
Nothing beats a
Cool, refreshing sip of water. Go back to your Cheetos. She's not for you, homunculus. Also, thank you. Why is he doubling? Why is he doubling? Probably because of I'm a streamer bot, or rather because probably because of Stream Deck. Hold on just a second. Stream Deck will do this sometimes and where it will just double over. I don't really know why. But no, the other good news is that Zoloft is working incredibly well for me. Zoloft is working incredibly well for me. I'm about a month into taking it, right? And the benefits of it have been astronomical. The benefits of it have been astronomical, and I can feel a difference between when I'm taking it and when I'm not taking it. You know? Now, sometimes I don't take it, and that's mostly because I just forget, right? I'm pretty forgetful about that sort of thing sometimes. Like today, I haven't taken it yet. Chat, are you fine if I step out and go take it real quick? Also, Doomslayer, that human on screen is me. I'm glad to hear that the medicine is working well for you. I'm gonna go and take it real quick, and then I'm gonna talk a little more about mental health, and then we're gonna get going, okay? Alright, do the meds thing. I will. Hold on just a second.
Hello, Mario. Chat, would you like a stream that's just the chair? Because that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting from seeing all of you here. I watched the boxing matches yesterday. I'm kind of sad. I was hoping for Tyson to knock out Jake Paul. Okay, that's another thing I want to talk about, but I want to put a pin in that real quick. Clint Eastwood ass stream. What the fuck would we even stream? Like, what would we even stream if it was just the chair? Low to mid-card matches were fire, main event was shit. It was always going to be shit, is the thing. You know? There is not a timeline in the multiverse where that would be a good match. You know? TLC matches? Duh. Alright, I'm noting that down. Give me a second. I literally keep, like, notes, right? I keep notes on this shit. I'm gonna fucking put this in my Google Drive. Give me just a second. Obviously, you won't be able to see it. Imagine if Tyson did knock Jake out, but Jake still won. He probably would have, honestly. I'm so mad that ending to the women's match was rigged. The women's match was really good. I will say, I do not know, like, what happened in the undercard, but I'm sure that there were some good matches on there. Chair-only stream. TLC matches. There. I marked it down for later, chat. We could stream dream matches with Mina Shirakawa. There were good matches in the undercard. I'm still mad about the women's match. Main event was shit. But no, okay, for some reason the chat froze. Give me just a second. Also, you could show La Parka matches since he is the chair. Dude. I need to play WCW Revenge. The chairman. Yeah. Thank you, Jim Ross. But no. I should play like WCW Revenge and just play as La Parka. I think that would be kind of funny, wouldn't it? It'd be funny for like 5 minutes. Okay, chat? It'd be funny for like 5 minutes and then we would get sick of it. I feel like. But it would probably be the only time I would play WCW NWO Revenge because, call me crazy, chat, but in general, I don't think that the N64 games are that good. like here's the thing. I recognize that mechanically they're sound and a lot of people like them, right? And they have like, especially No Mercy, like they have solid campaigns. But I just don't like how they play, you know? I don't like how they play at all. I think they just feel like really sluggish and not very fun to control, you know? Am I like alone in that sentiment? Am I like alone in that? Like, feel free to say, "Oh, Steph, you're wrong, man. They're the best games of all time. They saved my marriage." If you want to say that. But listen, I don't have a marriage to save. All right? I don't have a marriage to save in this fight. Ow! Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't have a marriage to save. You need to understand that. I just don't think it's that good. I wouldn't know since the only wrestling games I played thus far have been 2K23 and 20. That's surprising. With how passionate you are about wrestling, I would have thought that you would have played, like, all of them. Or at least the PS2 one. You see what I be said? Picture Jake Paul going up against Terrence Crawford. It's weird. I don't want to think about that. I don't think it's that good either. Oh. Okay. TBA's the only N64 games I ever played were Mario 64 and Mario Kart, LOL. I feel like as we get further away from that era, it becomes, like, increasingly more valid to have not played old games. You know? I didn't get into wrestling until 1.5 years ago. That's... really? Okay. Well, you're, like, incredibly passionate about it. I would have thought, like, you give off the vibes of someone... and you being Doomslayer... You, my friend, get off the vibes of someone who has been watching for a long time, you know? For me, I've been watching ever since I was like 10 or 11 years old, on and off, right? I am a lifelong diehard fan. So like I played them all, you know, at least a little bit. I've not played all of them extensively, but I played it all at least a little bit. So believe me when I say that, for me, Here Comes the Pain blows No Mercy out the water. In terms of just game feel, in terms of content, in terms of presentation, in terms of, you know, like a lot of things. And Fight Forever would be on par with that if its campaign was better and if the matches didn't end in 3 minutes. You know? Once the bug got me, though, the passion did and continues to pour the fuck out. Wrestling is by far one of my biggest passions. So yeah, believe me when I say that. I played the SmackDown vs. Raw games, the Xbox Raw game, wow. SmackDown vs. Raw, 2K Fight Forever, WCW Backstage Assault. Okay, that's one I didn't play at all. I've not played Backstage Assault. Maybe we should try it, chat. Maybe we should try it at some point. But, no, we're about to toss to a break, but before we do that, I do kind of want to talk about mental health a little bit and just how I'm doing. Again, the Zoloft has been great for me, right? The Zoloft has been fantastic to me. But also what's been fantastic has been meditation, right? Again, I know that we had a story on here in 2K24 about a bogus meditation app. And I'm sure that those exist somewhere. But for me, using the Headspace stuff and the Calm app, those have been incredible for me, right? They have been genuine game changers in terms of how I just kind of look at myself and how I kind of relate to my emotions and how I put those emotions into action, you know? I don't feel the need to act on things as much anymore, you know? I'm able to assess why I'm feeling certain things. Like, for example, funnily enough, the times where, like, I get back to people most often are at work. Because I want to take my mind off of it, right? And in recent times, I've just kind of, and partially thanks to Zoloft and meditation, I've been able to kind of relate that to the fact that, okay, these things that you're doing, these thoughts that you're feeling, the way that you sort of respond to people, the times that you tend to think that, you know, you're failing or you're not doing a good job at certain things. The reason why you think that is because you're at work and you don't want to be there. So get through this and then you'll feel better afterwards. And 9 times out of 10, I do. You know, 9 times out of 10, I do. And then I go home and then I'm feeling okay. You know? Like, genuinely, meditation and mindfulness practice has allowed me to do that and much more. Right? I don't feel as testy as I did previously. Thanks in large part to that. I just feel a lot more in tune with myself. And if you're feeling like, you know, that you're feeling a lot of things and you don't really know, like, why you're doing it or what to do with those feelings, I recommend trying meditation. It doesn't work for everyone. Everyone has, like, different thing. Do you feel Alberty? I feel Prince Alberty, you could say. Because I'm a fucking king. King of the Long Boy Club, which you should absolutely follow. In fact, you should follow me right here on twitch.tv/Giraffastev and join the Discord server because we have a lot of fun over on the Discord server. We're doing watch-alongs of My Little Pony Frenchman's Magic right now. Right now, we are in a lull period in the watch-alongs and when we're doing mostly Equestria Girl stuff. And a couple specials here and there. Are you also in the can? I'm a part of the X Factor. I got everything I ever wanted, and now I'm gonna get it back. So on and so forth. No. Basically, yeah. I recommend meditation. Try it out for yourself. And again, there's a lot of meditation apps out there. Personally, I mostly use Headspace. Because, you know, that has, like, a timeline that you can go down every day, and where it has, like, motivational videos, videos in where they respond to questions sent in by users. There are deadly meditation topics, so on and so forth. I recommend it quite a bit. And also there's Calm, which has similar features as well. And Calm is actually included like with a lot of workplace packages I've come to see. Like my mom works in healthcare, and a Calm subscription is actually like included like in her benefits package. So yeah, I would recommend seeing like even what your work has to offer you, because it might give you something like that. It just might give you something like that. His name was Cyrus, but now he's known as Basil. Hey, post your OC in there. Post your OC in like, you know, your art or something like that. I want to see it. I also have a pony OC myself, and I'll show it to you here in a little bit. But first we got to run an ad, chat, and then we'll get to it. And then we'll get started with our show proper.
It's break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Raw rolls on after this. But yeah, hopefully my talk on meditation is kind of made... Oh my god, Mario 64! We were just talking about it!
The first Nintendo 64 game released by Nintendo in 1997 is Mario Kart
64.
It combines the thrill of a racing game with signature Miyamoto gameplay.
What's signature Miyamoto gameplay, chat?
Various parts of the track, which either help or hinder each racer. The game gives players a true feeling of racing a go-kart.
Also, Husky Boy, can you tell me how old you are?
Mario Kart 64.
The reason why I ask is because my server is 18 plus.
Since racing games by their very nature move at blistering speeds, the other video game systems can't produce the graphics fast enough, causing environments to literally
I want to make sure.
To the screen in a
31. Okay, got it.
Fashion.
Thank you.
The speed at which Nintendo 64 produces the graphics is an unbelievable 93.7.
Something I noticed, like with a lot of people here, is that a lot of my viewer base is on the older side, which is fine. I don't have anything weird. I do not have any, like, you know, negative thoughts to say about that. I'm not going to sit here and be like, you fucking grandpas and grandmas, get in the home already, you know? I'm not gonna sit here and say that. I just think it's kind of interesting.
Nom nom.
You know?
Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Hey, welcome back to Raw. If I may ask, what made you think I was so young? It's not that I'm thinking that you're young, it's more that I just need to take a precaution, you know? I keep kids out of my spaces to protect them, you know? In the off-shot chance that we have any, you know, creepazoids amongst our ranks. And again, I'm not calling anyone here a creepazoid, I'm just making my stance clear, you know? Thankfully, we've not had anything like that. No miners allowed either. No coal miners. Exactly. Y'all leave a disgusting trail whenever you walk in. A disgusting charcoal trail when you walk in. Unfortunately, the internet is a terrible place sometimes. It is, yeah, exactly. But that doesn't mean that my place needs to be one of those terrible places. You know? We have to do our part to make it as not terrible as possible. Even if that's just on a micro level. You know? On a macro level, that's pretty hard, but on a micro level, you absolutely can do it. You can do it with enough work. You know what you can also do with enough work? Get on a goddamn pay-per-view, which is exactly what Gina's going to be doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. Everyone, we are going to be playing more WWE 2K24 now. Again, last time we left our conquering hero or villain, I guess. She turned heel. She turned heel on her friend Psycho Sally and the TBD universe by joining up with Rhea Ripley and becoming the newest and baddest member of the Judgment Day. everyone. The same faction that the same faction that Shining Wizard helped found all the way back in summer of this year. Goddamn. She is the newest member of it, and she has a new look to go along with it. So, we have a bit more work to do before we can actually call ourselves a champion, before we can call ourselves a main event player. We need to get on a pay-per-view, we need to win some gold. And what better way to do that than to go and see how our good friend Psycho Sally is doing over on NXT.
You're doing well for yourself, I see. Star locker room vibes.
The legend graces us with her presence. I like my decor to reflect my personality, which is abrupt and impatient. What do you want, Justine?
I want to talk about Psycho Sally.
What about her? She eating solid food yet?
So hard, aren't you? She is. She's eating
Not the
solid-
NXT parking lot.
Good. Good. So long as she stays out of my way.
I'm sure she will. I can't imagine she wants to lay her eyes on you again. You hurt that girl. Not just physically.
I wasn't... I had to show Rhea. It's a brutal world, and Sally had to learn that the hard way.
The hard way, being the woman she trusted most in the world, beating her within an inch of her life on national television?
Unless you're looking to learn a lesson in brutality yourself, get to the damn point.
She's on NXT this week in her first televised match back. I thought you might appreciate the update. I can report back if you'd like to know how she's doing.
Let me know how it goes.
Sally was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I regret nothing. But I don't wish her harm. Let me know if she's okay.
Huh. There is a little of you left in there.
Mm-hmm.
Same person I've always been, Justine.
Maybe. I'll let you know how Sally does.
We're gonna make sure that Sally can find some success, chat. Gina may have turned to the dark side, but that doesn't mean that Psycho Sally needs to follow her. Let's see how our conquering babyface of awkwardness is doing. Our Tism Queen is doing. Go to hell, WWE Universe! Ah!
Get ready for the untamed and unashamed Psycho Sally.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall, making her way to the ring from Las Vegas, Nevada.
I really want to know if you can, like, win a title with Psycho Sally here.
Recruited by the legendary Justine.
Because if she can, like, I don't know, if she become, like, NXT Women's Champion or something, that would be pog.
On fire in NXT.
Lighting fires is a serious red flag, Saxton. Seriously,
It sounds like the vocal sample from, like, Rhinestone Eyes. And once made a series of OCs that were basically Powerpuffs as Transformers. I basically made my own Sonichu possibly before Sonichu was a thing. Listen. Sonichu is like the least of the worries.
From Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
I'll be honest, Chad, I don't know much about... Listen.
to come out of Chase University.
I'll be honest, I don't know much about NXT's current crop of wrestlers, so people are gonna need to educate me a little bit. They're gonna need to educate me just a tiny bit. Because, well, I mean, it's like Gina said, it's a cruel world out here, especially for us people that don't keep up with WWE all that much. unless it's Raw and SmackDown.
With endless potential.
Is she good?
That potential and
Tia's basically an absolutely unhinged cheerleader.
she's got the aggression
Okay.
to get there.
I like the cut of her jib. I can fucks with that.
Psycho Sally still seems to be searching for herself out.
So chat. Anyone that's in the Discord, right? I want you to do me a favor because I want to change things up. I want you to, well, first off, I'm gonna give Glitch verified member role. I want you to go into the general chat, right? And I want you to put in some battle music in there for me. Okay? I want you to go in there and put like your favorite like fight music in there. And when I say fight music, I mean like action music from like video games and stuff like that. Something that would be like good to play over these matches, right? Because one thing that we like to do over here is that we enjoy playing music over the matches in order to give them a little bit more pizzazz, right? So for instance, although we save that for like later. We save that for like the big fights, right? Or something like this. Shit like that. If you have any like ideas about that, maybe put them in the general chat in the Discord, and I will download some during like the BRB, okay? Alright, sound good? All I know is my boy Javon Evans is in it. I've already posted all the Persona shit. Like just now. Oh yeah! Yeah! You all are providing already. You guys are providing already! Hell yeah! Do it. Do it. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what you bring to the table. All I know is my boy Javon Evans is in it. Lucky Ali and DPW or Jay Malachi? I don't even remember. Jay Malachi. Jay Malachi is what he was. Like the first time you asked this. Post it again. Post it again. Because I may have forgotten it. Quite ever since Cat took you out. But try to shake it off and beat Tia Hale. Right, let's see it then. Let's do Oh shit. Shit. I know exactly what to get, chat. In celebration of Mario and Luigi Brothership coming out, I think that we need to get some Dream Team music in here. Because that is like a low-key goated soundtrack. Ooh, yeah, let's go. Psycho Sally's a workhorse. I remember I once made a Sonic OC that basically resembled an evil Manic the Hedgehog, but with a giant metal fist. That's awesome. I love that. Listen, we're all about cringe OCs here. The cringe OC isn't the problem, it's how you use it. You know? Size does not matter. Oh, damn. I think this right here is a perfectly acceptable mid-card match, you know? Ooh! Back and forth.
Surprisingly quick kick out. Able to get that shoulder up so quickly. What a statement.
Hello, Mario.
Ah! I can't see!
Nice Japanese arm drag.
Where is Gina? On break in protest for not being able to get on a pay-per-view. Count it, ref. 1, 2, no. I also remember making a lot of Powerpuff Girls OCs back in the day, like my brother, like a brother from the Powerpuff Girls called Benny. I actually reworked some of those, hold on. I reworked some of those OCs, I actually reworked some of those OCs to their own original characters. That's awesome, man. I'm happy for you. That's how you do it, Blake Christian. We need the new aggression in there. So what else does she have? Does she have any, like, big moves still? Cyclone kick.
Nasty kick to the face. Thea's got to find a way out of this dire spot. She's going to try it again.
Spanish fly!
Incredible.
Nice. 2, 3. Solid 3.5 minute match right there. But no, Gina is taking a bit of time off in protest for not being able to be on pay-per-view because honestly, it's absurd that she's not been able to, like, appear. Go to hell, WWE Universe! Ah! Psycho Sally would call the move psychosis. Chat. I think we gotta call the move psychosis now, right? You know what, Husky Boy? I'm gonna call it psychosis, if that's okay with you. Because that's actually really good.
Carly, how's it going?
How's it going for you? Great win out there, but
NXT!
not very, you know.
That's such good shit, pal!
Honestly, Psycho's looking a little aspirational these days. Right after I started training, I saw this match Cap had with La Suspira.
Ow!
They climbed up and started fighting in the balcony.
Why do you think I said it? This isn't WrestleMania!
With a kick to the gut, looks out at the crowd, and she hits a freaking Canadian.
She's watching the tapes!
15 feet down through a table. It was
She's watching the tapes,
all
pal!
in the world I wanted to be.
Sir, this is a Denny's? I want photos of Spider-Man!
Aw, that sounds insane and fun. And the kind of stuff you should be doing right now, Sally.
I mean, that's what he looked like with his, like, new shitty mustache, you know? He looked like J.K. Simmons at home.
Maybe. But I can't stop thinking about how the person who inspired me so hard took me out of action for weeks.
I feel ya. Perfectly timed.
You can't let what Cap did get in your head.
Now she tells me.
Okay. Okay, so I wasn't the only person who thought that.
Listen, we've both been kicked in the teeth by adventure recently. What do you say we turn it around and give a little back?
He wants photos of Spider-Man, but, like, the only thing that he gets is, like, pictures of, like, Hogan's Mr. America gimmick. I thought this was a Winnie's! I'll have a Big Mac! Vince McJameson. Hunter, give me pictures of that beefy boy, Lars Sullivan! Who are you playing as right now? I'm playing as Psycho Sally at the moment. Vince McJameson is good. I love that.
What'd you have in mind?
There's only one thing you forgot. You forgot the pickles!
Psycho Sally, I just won a match by straight up cheating.
The best there is? I didn't think so!
And you know what?
Vince McJameson is money, pal. Why are we crossing him over, like, with... Why am I crossing him over, like, with Bubble Bass, too?
Tell me.
He's back in Wyoming.
It felt like taking back control from all the Caps and Rias of the world. Let's feel that way together.
Wait, are we tagging?
You want to, like, be a tag team?
Actually, I already jumped way out on a limb and got us booked in a match with JC Jane and Cora Jade.
Carly, Carly, no! No, I don't want a tag team!
You booked me in a tag match without even asking me? You know what I call that?
A poor choice that crossed your personal boundaries?
Freaking psycho! Let's go get crazy, Carly.
Oh! I think we're gonna call them the Twisted Sisters, chat. We're calling them the Twisted Sisters. I think that's pretty sick. That Stone Cold is a menace. I want that son of a bitch behind bars. I want you to go get photos of my son, the World Heavyweight Champion.
It's Psycho Sally, the maven of mayhem and madness.
He's getting married this weekend. Could you pay me in advance?
Introducing first, from Las Vegas, Nevada, Psycho Sally!
It's time to get psycho, Corey.
Oh boy.
For a person who calls herself
I need to stop doing that voice. It's actually making my throat a little hoarse. All right. Do we have matching gear?
No need to check your watches. It is prime time.
What are you waiting for, Chinese New Year? Give me a 5-star match. Ah! Make it such good shit, pal.
And we've seen them come and go how many times over
Hunter, go get me pictures of Tia Hale. Hunter, sir, isn't that a little creepy? The fuck's a creepy?
We're about to find out if Carly...
Is it something you can eat? God, that's such shit, dude.
JC Jane, a superstar with a rock star attitude.
And from Tampa, Florida, JC Jane!
So is this like her new look, chat? Because I remember that she was part of Toxic Attraction, but is that not a thing anymore?
Cora Jade is here. Kendo stick in hand, ready for a fight.
And from Chicago, Illinois, Cora Jade!
They'd probably make a good tag team.
They are brought together.
All right.
Common enemy. Now we find out if that shared betrayal is enough.
There you go.
Success.
Get Psycho on JC Jane and Cora Jade. The Twisted Sisters. We gotta hit that psychosis, chat.
They end up just putting two targets right next to each other.
Let's play as Carly Prime and let's see what she's got. Carly Prime has a rolling elbow and an alley-oop. Okay, Toxic Attraction's been dead since February of last year. Oh, okay.
Communication between these two is evident by that move.
Well, that shows what I know. That shows what I know. Oh, Shades of Gina. Shades of Gina.
Question if you skip going to the gym today. Carly getting ready.
She is also a strong woman. Not gonna lie. That was good.
Oh, man, right to the arm.
Let's call Carly's alley-oop prime time.
A lot of offense now. Yeah, JC's being completely
Wait, use a chair and get DQ'd.
back with a reversal.
Huh? So can I, like, just use that as anybody?
Vicious stomps. Oh, man.
Look at me, Carly. Hunter, I want those pictures of Cena Man fighting the Diddler on my desk before tomorrow.
She's got a chair, and her opponent is in her sights.
What the?
Ooh, she responds with a counter. And Prime reverses.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. I'm gonna call it prime time. Why not? I'll go ahead and call it prime time. I think that's pretty sick.
Clearly thinking a steel chair is what's
What the? Hey!
Can they go?
Hey, you!
She turns it right around with a counter. Big overhead.
The referee was just like, nope.
Hoisted all the way up.
Fuck you.
That powerbomb was absolutely worthy of both
Go fuck yourself.
No telling what she'll find under the ring here. A steel chair. She's taking this match into even more dangerous territory.
What the? No! Let me hit you with the chair. Let me hit you with the chair.
Back in from ringside. Clothesline. Well, that'll leave a mark.
Fine, you know what?
Lined up in a thunderous double axe.
Swing. Let's try this. Oh, yeah. That was such good shit, pal. Hunter, you're rehired. God, it's doing a number on my voice. I'm gonna stop doing that. Ugh. I'm gonna stop doing that, chat. Said, as you know, there's an alternate universe where Jameson gets spider powers and he's taking pics of himself. This is a real thing from Marvel. You know what? I knew about that. My roommate knows all about Spider-Man.
Wow, that was pretty psycho out there, Carly.
I know, that felt freaking incredible! Did you hear the sound the chair made when it made contact? Wham!
Do you think it was really necessary to hit anyone with a chair?
Was it necessary for Cap and Rhea to do what they did to us?
Easy, easy. I'm on your side.
We were amazing together. We should get a tag title opportunity.
Listen, you need to win matches first, right?
Oh, I mean, that would be nice, but we've only had one match.
That's why we need to attack Isla and Alba.
Wait, what?
Yeah! We attack the tag team champions, they're bound to give us a title shot. That always works.
Sure. We could also ask.
We should make a statement, just like Cap and Rhea did. We can show the whole NXT locker room, the whole WWE, that we are not gonna be pushed around ever again.
I mean, yeah. Yeah! Let's do it! Let's go absolutely psycho on them! Maybe no chairs, though.
I make no promises.
She has so much anxiety, dude. What the fuck? We gotta go to SmackDown. Okay, cool. After DQing ourselves, we gotta go to SmackDown. We need to make a statement. Another
successful tag team title defense for Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. Hold on, that's Carly Prime and Psycho Sally. And they're attacking the champions from behind. What's this all about? Carly and Sally are the new team on the block. Maybe they will.
I also know that people don't really like the direction of the recent Spider-Man stuff. Mostly because of, like, you know, a deal that he made with Mephisto, I believe.
Annihilation of NXT, which
Did I tell you about a tag team I made with Cause called Desert Threat? You did not.
devastation of their cryptic powers is realized when they combine their strength to isolate an opponent
Alright, hold on.
and destroy them with brutal
Wham! Wham!
going up against
Wham! Hold on just a second. I'm gonna go and put on Final Fantasy III battle music.
and lead to a treacherous outcome for opponents. It's fun to keep track of all the action we're about to see in this one, guys. No count out as she takes this fight to the floor. Into the ring now. She wants to take this one outside the ring, it seems. The steel chair never is anything
Wham! Uh-oh. Little knowledge about it. Spider-Man lore ruined Mary Jane as a character and basically turned Peter into a non-character in his own book. Well, I know about One More Day, and I know that that's, like, not really something that people like. Oh, hey. I need to...
No! I'm just swinging chairs, chat. Bane, not now. Okay, well, cool. I did it. I did it. I stayed alive. Fictional son of Sabu and Sai, the fictional grandson of the Iron Sheik. Spider-Man sold his marriage to the devil, went downhill, and the book never recovered. Well, the book's been going on for like 60 years at this point, yeah?
It's almost time for a 120 seconds Cheetos break, my dudes.
Hey, yo! No, 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 no. I do not want George Wood right now. I don't want George Wood. Well, too bad. You're gonna get George Wood. Damn you. Ow. Imagine this was the surprise beatdown that you got. Oh. No. There you go. Psychosis! Alright, cool.
It's break time.
Well,
where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Shit, Rawl's on after this. So what do you do now? There's no mission. We're supposed to knock. What the? What are the odds that we get this 2 times in a row?
The 64 game released by Nintendo in 1997 is Mario Kart 64. It combines the thrill of a racing game with signature Miyamoto gameplay. In this case, mystery items scattered in various parts of the track, which either help or hinder each racer. The game gives players a true feeling of racing a go-kart.
I'm not gonna lie, Chad. I'm feeling a little hungry. We might take a bit of an early break.
Depth and graphics only available with Nintendo 64.
But no, I'm pretty sure that you're supposed to like knock one of them out at least.
Speeds. The other video game systems can't produce the graphics fast enough, causing environments to literally
they're too slow
in a most unrealistic fashion. The speed at which Nintendo 64 produces
also, chat,
is an unbelievable
I want to talk to, hold on.
93.75 megahertz.
I'll wait until the ad's done.
3.9 megahertz for its closest competitor. This is a game the whole family can play, since Mario Kart 64 uses the 4 controller ports on the front of the system. It features split-screen play for up to 4 players. The game also features more than 16 courses, a battle arena mode, and includes 8 characters from the world of Mario.
I love how you can hear Wario gameplay in the background.
Toad, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Wario, Bowser, battling each other in the wackiest racing game ever made.
Nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Hey, welcome back to Raw. I wanted to...
should pick it up.
I wanted to, I wanted to say that I'm thinking that maybe we actually do like 2 streams a week going forward. I wanted to like do kind of sort of like a 1 stream a week thing, but it's really long. However, I don't really think that I have the stamina for that just yet. It's been a little too long, you know? It's been a little bit too long. So I'm thinking that maybe we do 2 streams a week. One of them being this and the other being something else. I'm thinking maybe that something else could be like an RPG or something. I'm thinking that something else could possibly be an RPG.
Or just whatever the fuck we want to do. You know? That's kind of how I did it like a couple years ago. We had a lot of fun with that. I wouldn't mind returning to something like that. I don't know, what do you guys think? I have a few ideas in the tank. Like, I have a throne page that I'm not using at all. And I think that it would be... I think it would be kind of a better use of it to, like, do something where we just... fill it up with, like, random bullshit. Right? I think that would be really fun. I miss you streaming more often. A big mistake in comic books is that DC never followed through with Dick Grayson, the first Robin Nightwing marrying Starfire in the comics. But yeah, I'm thinking that maybe we could just kind of, you know, do something like that. I would also like to make a custom Gitsy video, so that way we can divide up the frequency of how much we see George Wood. We could literally just, like, write our own thing. And just for shits and giggles, I could try messaging him and being like, hey, how much would it take for you to voice this? And he might do it. He might do it. Like, Gitsy isn't really that, like, big of a cultural phenomenon online, right? It's not, like, this ginormous thing. It's still, like, pretty niche, all things considered. And I think it would be worthwhile to, like, just reach out to him and be like, hey, what do I gotta do to make you do this? I think that would be funny as fuck. I think it would be funny if we could actually get him to, like, voice a custom script if we write it. And it really shouldn't cost that much to do commentary on reviewing a game. Well, I don't know.
A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W X Y Z. Now I know my ABCs.
Zed?
Next time won't you sing with me?
He's so smart, chat. The homunculus is so smart. And this right here, see, that right there is what eating Cheetos every day will do for you. It'll make your brain grow 10 times. Or probably 9.9 times, because he said Z instead of Z. Like a filthy Brit. Anyways.
5Q plus 5Q. What do you get?
10 Qs. Right? Alright, cool. We did it. Good job. You get 10 Qs, obviously. Right, homunculus? Right?
You're welcome.
Dragon Ball Z.
Guess you heard.
Mysteries abound, made of a deep energy.
Damn right I did. What did I tell you? We beat Isla and Alba down an instant title match.
Don't stop, we're in luck now. Don't stop, da, 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 da.
Yep, worked out just like you said.
Get the joke? I don't quite get it.
Ara.
Oh, homunculus. I miss your streaming more often. I honestly miss streaming more often too. I need to get back. I need to, like, get more discipline in the things I want to do.
Cheetos increase brain production and stability, this and more at 11.
And it felt so good. Cap and Rhea, they're really onto something. Brutality. Brutality is the way to success. It's like a shortcut.
Oh no. Good night, Sev. Good night, chat. Good night, Patch. Thank you for...
It's a shortcut, Carly.
Thank you for stopping by, Patch.
Electric shortcut. I feel so powerful.
No, you don't. You feel like a bully. And that's not power. That's Cap and Rhea's kind of power.
Yeah? After what they did to us, isn't that what you want?
Maybe at first I did. At least a little bit. Now that I've tried it, I realize it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit me, and it doesn't fit you.
But we got a title opportunity.
And we are gonna go out there and do crazy moves Alba and Isla have never seen in their lives, and beat them in the middle of the ring. We will fight every bit of their fire with fire. We will go psycho.
Hell yeah!
But what we won't do is anything like Cap and Rhea. Because they're not psycho. They're
The joke goes as follows. You ask 5Q plus 5Q, someone answers 10Q, and you reply you're welcome.
Homunculus. Homunculus. You gotta be Peter Griffin here. Where does the joke come from? I need to know, man. Where the fuck does the joke... Where does the joke come from, man? Where does it come from?
No, we're freaking not.
So let's go win the tag team titles and prove it.
No way! No way! Is Psycho Sally gonna get gold before Gina does? I think Psycho Sally's gonna get gold before Gina does. That's fucking rad. Yeah! Woo! Hell yeah! Let's win those tag straps. Let's do it, chat. But again, not on pay-per-view, on a random episode of SmackDown. We're winning these tag straps. Don't these guys have like a tag name, though? Don't they have like an official tag team name?
First off, contain the calamitous calamity that is your non-existent memories. Secondly, it came from Instagram.
Instagram. Go to hell, WWE Universe. They were already there when Vince was still in charge. And I'm gonna send them again! Ah!
Scheduled for one fall. It is for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Introducing the challengers.
I want this woman to ring announce me.
Psycho Sally and Carly Pride.
The Twisted Sisters!
Alba and Isla and Isla and Alba. They's called the Unholy Union.
Thank you. Thank you, Homunculus. Thank you, Cheetos, for making his brain grow 10 sizes that day. It is the holiday season, after all. Except for him, it's not his heart, it's his brainstem. Literally cannot see the titles. Thank you.
You would expect this to be a colossal challenge to the reigning champ.
Alright. Chat, what music we playing? I think for something like this, we gotta play that.
What's a brain?
Very, very philosophical, chat. See? He's so smart he won't even answer the question.
Champions as they go head-to-head against a pair that is becoming the most brutal force in the business. But these two tag champions are here for a reason.
I doubt they're going to get rattled by Carly Prime and Psycho Sally's antics.
It's more than just antics, Corey. These two challengers they're fully capable of making just as much noise fairly as they do outside the rules.
I don't think it's going to be a good idea for us to try and give these girls a good match, chat.
What a response from Sally.
I think that what we need to do is we need to make this a quick match. As quick as possible.
Psycho Sally just taking a moment to soak it all in.
Rolling into a monkey flip.
I honestly can't believe we just saw a human being tossed like that.
Alright, let's do it. Ooh!
Those two are in such a cohesive rhythm out there.
It's like playing jazz, but using your opponent as the
A
drum.
brain is just a miserable little pile of secrets. But enough talk. Have at
How
you.
about you? How about you? No.
She manages to get control.
counter. Now can it be capitalized on? Quick exchange, reversing the reversal. Gets slammed down. Going for a pin for the champion.
Center of the ring. Counter, ref. Oh. Never. Wow. All right. Oh, hey.
Unbelievable athleticism. Speed kills, and no one knows that better than the champion. Big time spine buster. Could lead to a big
One, two. Whoa. Hello.
impressive to not even allow a 2 count at this junction.
The powerhouse. The Twisted Sisters are cleaning house.
I'm taking over this stream, Monsoon.
Running power slam. Hey, Homunculus, can you give me your best Dusty Rhodes impression? Give him 2 minutes, cause those 15 minutes are going to another Roman Reigns promo, pal. Give me your best Dusty Rhodes, Homunculus. Ooh, the rolling elbow. Nah.
Effort to overcome the pin attempt.
Sky high.
Saw this thing on Twitter, not calling it X. The prompt is Triple H offers you a 3-year $25 million contract, but you have to beat your birth month in their prime in a no-holds-barred match. January has Drew McIntyre, February has Jacob Fatu, March has John Cena, April has Braun Breaker, May has Gunther, June has Batista, July has Randy Orton, August has Roman Reigns, September has Triple H, October has LA Knight, November has Goldberg, and December has The Undertaker.
I mean, I get LA Knight. Ah! Ah! There you go. I got Randy Orton, LA Knight. LA Knight, yeah. Yeah.
Jumping stop to the gut. Oh man, a little extra luster behind that kick. Saw that one coming, took advantage. Watch her set up in the corner.
All right, come on. Let's actually try to do something cool here. Bicycle kick and psychosis. Also, sorry for wall of text. Yeah, usually, usually I try not to kind of encourage people to write walls of text with them. Not unless it's something goofy. It's all good, though.
And Sally is countered. Placed in the corner. Shoulder to the stomach. Right on target with a stop to the gut. Oh, look at this.
Oh, damn. Come on, the Twisted Sisters can't lose here.
Tackles ruthless. The challenger eating up
some damage.
Just beam them in the corner. Nope.
Won't be contained. Oh, man, what a strike. Oh, solid forward. And Dawn beats her to the punch. Oh, my Lord.
Man.
My goodness.
Again.
I don't think so. Oh, look at this ruthlessness in the bottom turnbuckle. Covered by the champ. And a shoulder is lifted before.
No.
But you have to believe that she's still in all sorts of trouble here.
Nothing fancy about that.
And she's gone after her opponent's core a few times now.
Set up for a
Oh! Psychosis!
kidding me.
Smack in the middle of the ring. 2. What?
Display of stamina.
I was ready to stop the music chat.
But things might only get harder from here. That was a great opportunity to put this one away.
Tag team wrestling. You got it, bro. Here's some tag team wrestling for you. Okay, we might actually get something here. Nice.
Drops the hammer right on the lower back.
Psycho Sally, get out the fucking ring! Out the ring! Okay, thank you. Jesus.
The champ shoulders are down.
Come on, is that enough? 1, 2, 3, new champs. New tag team champions. Those are the same belts that Java Crypt won.
Ara, I want Mina Shirakawa to be my new mama.
The Cheetos aren't supposed to make you more down bad for someone, chat. I'm sorry about the homunculus.
Curse or hex their opponents. Anything to get revenge.
Nice. New tag team champions. Again, they got gold before Gina did. Maybe Gina needs to change her tactics. Maybe Gina needs to change her tactics if she wants those kinds of credentials. Raw rat? Raw rat. Sniffing gold more. Yeah, exactly. Like, Gina hasn't even, like, come across one of the champions at all yet. You know? She hasn't even seen a championship in WWE. Raw rat.
Team champions? How's that for Psycho?
The Ara rat. It's a rat that's just, like, incredibly, like, seductive. AKA the one rat in the item shop that people like.
Absolute
in Fortnite.
madness.
Ooh, that's not a bad team name.
I was thinking Psycho Prime.
No, no. Raw rat on Monday Night Raw. Just because I feel like it. Thank you for the bits, Husky Boy. I appreciate it. Your donation to the Long Boy Club will not be mismanaged.
Prime Psycho?
Possible. We'll workshop it.
Gold suits you, Sally. When we started down this
Psychosis in prime
road,
time.
we were ready to call it a day. Now, you're on fire.
Maybe I was. Cap messed me up, but she also taught me something.
Now you're making me think of Remy trying to seduce me. I hate that.
No. Resilience. I'm more unbreakable than I thought.
We got the titles. We can go where we want.
You're thinking Cap and Rhea.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. Thing is, I have this feeling those two are not in a long-term partnership. I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy watching them tear each other apart.
For now?
For now.
Hey, cool. That's a fun thing that we got to do with Psycho Sally. I'm happy for her. I'm glad that my go to hell WWE universe. I'm glad that she was able to kind of get that monkey off her back and got a title on it instead. Good job. I'm happy for her. So Gina, you're looking a little foolish, huh? Your friend has moved on without you. Mick Jameson really likes that catchphrase. Go to hell, Spider-Man! You're a fraud, Spider-Man! That wasn't even Mick Jameson. That was just Harry Osborn. Let's see here. Do striking right there. I want pictures of Gina now, or you're fired. That Spider-Man is a menace. Why?
I've seen my share of
I have no idea.
brutality during my time in the square.
Red Circle.
You take it to a whole new level. Impressive stuff. But a little wisdom from an old-timer. People will start to see you as the one to take out to prove themselves. If you want to send a message, take out a newbie in the PC. Baseball bats, no DQ. Really lay it on. Trust me, everyone will think twice before stepping up to you.
Bro, did you not see what I did in the other place? Harry Osborn, when he could see John Cena. You're a fraud, Cena man! and just like put like an edit of like Cena like on the wall outside. No, Jameson is the one who said, I have no idea. No, I know, but like his voice just went, his voice went to normal there. I think it's funnier that way. I don't think we need to do like these one-offs here.
Hey, I'm in a bit of trouble. Think you could help me out?
Is it something you should be talking to your
Oh no.
about?
Dirty Dom's legendary voice acting is back.
Snitch. What's up?
Rhea was going to have my back in my match with Johnny Gargano, but Mommy had some other business come up. Think you'd be able to be in my corner?
Supporting you? I could, but I've also got a lot of respect for Rhea. I may call the shots around here, but Poppy doesn't cross boundaries like that.
Don't make it weird. This was Rhea's idea.
I'll do it.
All right then. But you don't get it twisted. Just because I'm in your corner doesn't mean I'm gonna be doing the heavy lifting in your match.
I understand.
Yeah, he's real bad.
You roll with me? I'm gonna make sure you don't embarrass us.
Yes, sir.
That's more like it.
Harry Osborn, I'm ruined. I have nothing left except Cena Man. Cena Man is what they called him during the Super Cena years. Dom sounds like he's about to miss Dr. Connor's class. Oh no. Dr. Connor's class. I got so caught up in what I was doing, I forgot all about it. He's gonna kill me. That is a deep cut reference. Wow, that's awesome. Guys, Dom's on screen. You know what to do. You know what to do, right? You know what to do. Where's Booze? Booze! Where are they? This. Yeah! Just like old times. We're doing the whole entrance, baby. Whole entrance. Here, I'll help. I'll help you all. I'll help.
We fucking hate Dominic Mysterio! We can't let it die!
It's almost time for a 120 seconds Cheetos break, my dudes.
Good job, everyone.
Johnny Wrestling.
Mission accomplished.
And his opponent, representing DIY from Cleveland, Ohio, weighing in at 199 pounds, Johnny Gargano!
Incredible work, everyone. I mean, after that, we don't need to do it. Okay. Impress Poppy and take it to Johnny Gargano. Show Poppy what you're made of. Okay. The father. The father, Gina. Father Gina. We'll do 619. This right here is Rey Mysterio's music. Rather, like, this right here is like the fight music that's inspired by Rey Mysterio, and Here Comes the Pain. Can't hear the music. Woo! Nice. Picture a Dirty Dom face turn. I mean, we already saw it, and that was when he was tagging with his dad. Oh! To the belly welly, huh? Oh boy, we got a cutscene. I did. I did. Okay, apparently... You heard, but the MLP, A New Generation, actually slaps in the Japanese dub. Cool.
I've wined and dined with kings and queens, and I've slept in the alley eating pork and beans.
The Cheetos make him a rhymesmith, chat. That right there is an MF Doom bar. That right there is bars. Delicious. Rap snitch knishes. Ooh.
Picture this, Dum Dum the Dum Dum having had enough of being drowned out by the booze, so he brings one of those megaphones with an alarm and blares it every time they start up.
They just get louder. He stops the count, but why? Because there's no ref. Fuck off, the stadium gone dark. What is this? It's an Ironsides. Hey there, Ironsides. How you doing? What is up, my friend? Just 1-9? Yeah. Wait. So I'd imagine that his thing is Frog Splash. Yep. Nice setup with the announcer's table. Thank you. That was created by our good friend Alex, so you can find him down below the stream player and the panels. You can find her. Him, I'm sorry.
It's almost time for a 120 seconds Cheetos break, my dudes.
He goes by he, him, or they, them. Three, there you go. Incredible. Dominic Mysterio is doing a bit of tuning up before he helps out Shining Wizard over on SmackDown to defeat Kane. Why does he have, like, the baby face, like, victory animation? That's not right? Like, he doesn't do that anymore. Right? He hasn't done that for a long time. Thought I was supposed to just have a match against Dominic Mysterio. Didn't know I'd be facing Gina with a steel chair too. It's not our fault you can't keep up, Johnny Gargano. If Gina's gonna be involved anyway, let's just make this official and give me a chance to even the score. Mix the tag. You think you two clowns can take her and my boy Dom out? Yeah, right. We'll play your game. After all, I've already taken care of you once before, Candace. See you out there. I took care of you in like a 60-minute Iron Man match. Chat, you weren't here, but I had to call in the reinforcements. I had to call Zach in here to help me power through a 60-minute Iron Woman match with Candice LeRae. It was the greatest match of all time. She scored like 12 points and I scored like 69. Genuinely. It was the greatest match to ever take place in the middle of a ring.
Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Raw rolls on after this.
Toe ball number 1 is a
shockingly inferior game. There, we said it.
Make no bones about it. Square's second fighting game released in the US and premier PlayStation title seems like a rush job of the worst kind. The graphics
I am
look
very hungry, chat. I think
won't take too long to conquer, and the play
I think
control
once
stinks. Most fighting games
I think once we're back from break, I'm gonna take a little bit of a break myself. Rather, like once we're back from commercial, I'm going to take a bit of a break myself.
Used in games. Your kicks and punches don't often connect with the enemy when you're right in front of them. It's hard to move around the arena. Need I go on? The quest mode has the worst control of all. Like Batman Forever, strange, funky, complex, hard to memorize,
Batman Forever.
Totally ridiculous button combinations are required to perform even the simplest of actions. To simply stop running, you must press R1, rather than just letting go of the control pad. Who the heck let that one slip by? The weak play control, which gets a 1 on a scale of 10, makes the entire game worthy of the scrap heap. The quest mode,
so they have like number grades, or rather like number rankings, but also letter rankings.
The play control makes
that makes
hard,
no
though,
sense.
as you must jump over rolling logs on occasion, and once you die, you die.
Once you die,
and that's it.
You die, chat.
Excuse me,
one life and that's it. Hey, welcome back to Raw.
Remarkably undetailed and basic looking, hardly convincing as futuristic. Yet the opening cinema scene is absolutely outstanding. Just another example of a PlayStation game with superficial fluff hiding a piece of junk inside. We haven't given a review this bad since, well, maybe never, but I don't think we've ever played a game this bad before. It seems Square is truly square, in the head, blockheads. Okay, that's our weak attempt at a joke, but seriously,
my message failed
don't
to
even
send.
rent this game.
I don't think it
even
did.
Look at it.
Hold on.
The game is totally unacceptable for even die-hard street fighting fans. There's not much more.
It doesn't
we can say.
seem like
We've
it
actually
failed to
covered
send.
everything. The game is too short as well, as if it wasn't bad enough already.
As
The ending
if
to
it
the
wasn't
tournament
bad
mode
enough
is the
already.
Same for every character, except for who walks down the red carpet to receive the trophy. That, of course, depends on the character. Duh. Here's an uncut ending with a different character.
Notice how it's the same. Notice how it's the same, chat.
Dragon Ball penis music. Incredible. Incredible work by all involved. Okay, we're gonna take a bit of a break, chat, because I want to get food real quick before we continue on. So, yeah. I'll be back in a few minutes. If you haven't done so already, I would really appreciate you following the channel. Maybe join the Discord as well. We have a lot of fun over there. We're gonna be... Yeah, I know, we gotta do a break, but you know what? Follow me, or rather, I'm gonna join the Discord right there. We have fun. We are gonna be continuing our My Little Pony Friendship's Magic Watch-alongs tomorrow. We are currently in a period of just non-stop Equestria Girl stuff because there's a shitload to get through. there's a lot, chat, and I want you to be there with us for it. So maybe join. I would really appreciate it if you did. I'll see y'all in like 12 minutes. All right, I'll see you in 12 minutes.
Hello, Mario.
Food takes a long time to get, chat. Food takes a long time to get. Hello. Steph decided to go across the NXT parking lot, and I got myself a chicken salad sandwich while I was over there. Hi. Welcome back to tonight's Long Boy Club. Ow. Welcome back to tonight's
Hello,
Long Boy
Mario.
Club meeting. Hi, Keebs. How you doing? How you doing? And hello, Nelson. Welcome to tonight's Long Boy Club meeting. Let's... Ow!
Step on up and see if you
And
can
got
throw
into a brawl. I
giant
did
gold
stop by
ring
catering,
around a
got into a
long boy's
brawl.
neck, ladies and
Ow!
gentlemen. Step on up. Come on, come on, come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Ah! I dodged that! Matrix
Oh,
style!
You missed. Or maybe you didn't.
Woo!
You owe me $10 either way.
Never expected.
The ladder. Ow. Doing good. I literally just woke up. Good morning. Good morning to you. Hello from the bumfuck Midwest US. Ow.
Ara.
Oh. Who all do we have here, by the way? We have Ashley, we have Glitch, we have Nelson, we have Keeves. Nelson isn't fine. Oh yeah, that's right. Who? I love the giant ladder. Nelson! Nelson, is it fine? Is it fine if I mod you? Is it okay if I mod you, Nelson? I trust you to be a mod! Nelson, is it fine if I mod you? Is it fine if I mod you? Sure, okay! Mod! Mod! Keenan! 47! Okay, cool. Phew! I'm sorry, I had to do some town business. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it over all the noise. Also, I'm sorry, chat. I'm sorry, I did not download any music on my break. I was too busy eating sandwich. I'll get your requests in a little bit, okay? I'm sorry. Finger tapping. Finger tapping together. But yeah. Thanks for joining the server glitch. I appreciate it. It was a good sandwich. Everyone understood their role. Yeah, exactly. Everyone understood the assignment. Except for me, because I said I was going to do a thing and then I didn't do it. Let's do this.
I think Rhea Ripley would object to you saying that the captain and Dominic
Take down Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae.
personal lives. All I know is we're going to have two great teams in a great matchup.
Well, this seems like it's going to be a real fun match here. I'm just gonna bully Candice LeRae some more after we did it for a whole fucking hour a couple weeks ago. Oh, I didn't tell you, my current VTuber model is inspired by the legendary Jushin Thunder Liger. You'll have to show it. I would love to see that, honestly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Strikes like that, it's clear they have no taking flight.
Oh. I will put a pic in the Discord. Incredible. Can't wait to see it. Ooh.
And gets tossed back into the mat.
Hey, could you tag in Dom for me? Chat.
Chat, do I trust Keebs? Do I trust her? I don't know if I should trust her, chat. Yes. I don't know if I should trust her, chat. Well, here they come anyways. I don't think anyone wants to boo, I don't think anyone wants to boo old Gina here, so you know what? I'll give you what you want. Like Excalibur says, you got to give the people what they want. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get him in anyways. Yep, here we go. Alright, here we go. So, Keys, why did you want me to tag Dominic again? I see. Oh, I see. I see now. Follow Giraffe is set in the crowd. Ow! 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 Not the briefcase. Did you get it out of your system, chat? Quit cashing in! I can't! I can't, I'm in the middle of a stream right now. Okay. Cheetos caked in your head, it didn't make your brain grow 10 sizes. It's very slow onset, chat. We all know how stupid the homunculus was for the longest time. Oh, wow.
Oh, you missed.
She sucks, dude.
Or maybe you didn't. You owe me $10 either way.
No. No, this is a one-time thing. We're not into that era of the Judgment Day yet. What the? What if you want to go to heaven, but God said,
to mince words,
Dominic Mysterio?
time, getting to the point. Not when there's so much destruction and chaos to bring to WWE.
It set it up for you, chat. This is him inside his head. I can't even hear him.
In Papi's way.
Are you sure that's not Christian?
Hello, Mario.
Did someone say the father that they never had? Oh, yeah! Well, Dominic, I understand that you had a father, but your father's dead. Because Shining Wizard killed him. I mean, did you see the ambulance match in the last playthrough? Damn, Dom. Got a mommy taking over. Ah! Big Kev ain't so big anymore.
It was a whisper heard around the WWE universe. Who does Dominic Mysterio and Poppy Gina have their sights set on next? Kind of wondering if Rhea Ripley saw that. You trying to stir that pot? I think we all are. You see, Dom, nobody knows your true father, but I'll be your father.
Nothing beats a cool, refreshing sip of water.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking care of my business while I was gone. Didn't I always tell you Dom was something special? Glad you two finally got a chance to work together.
Gah. I don't know
It's
which one is
almost
worse,
time for a
chat.
120 seconds Cheetos break, my dudes.
Oh, thank you for the serotonin. Christian Cage.
Hello, Mario.
The merchant returns. Ruby, hello. It's been a while since I've seen you. Welcome back to the Long Boy Club. Why is catering all junk food? I mean, Gina's got to bulk up, you know? She eats like nothing but like protein powder and the leaves off of the trees in the cities that they go to. You know?
Spare serotonin, please.
Where are the steak wraps, pal? How is her voice acting so much better in Call of Duty? Probably because she has better direction. Oh, thank you for... I don't know which one is worse genuinely, Rhea's or Dom's. I'm leaning towards Rhea, honestly.
He's a bit of a brat, but I understand what you see in him. I hope you know better than to take stock in what people are saying online.
Of course I do. Besides, if you did want to take him off my hands, you're still in charge around here. I'm not someone who gets mad over something as silly as petty jealousy.
Catering provided by the clique because everything is too sweet.
Good. Then I'll expect you to be out there for my match against Caden Carter tonight.
It's also a lot of chocolate stuff, so that's also my thing. Where's Sax at, LMAO?
Delighted. I'll bring the chaos, Poppy.
What the? Ooh! That shit slays me, dude. That voice acting slays me. Strikes me down at my feet. The way I would fuck up that chocolate cake, the oof, exactly. Instead of doing a coom. I'm not cooming, I'm grasping at my fucking chest because the voice acting is so good. You misunderstand me, JR. Stev, how have you been? I've been fine. I've been okay. It's been a rough go at it for like a bit, but I'm taking much better care of my mental health. So take that for what you will. I've been feeling better in my own skin lately. Thanks largely to meditation and Zoloft. You talk to Rhea? I'm gonna make some breakfast real quick. I kind of just... Alright, go and get some breakfast. Let us know what you make. I miss having breakfast. Hans watching the wrestling. Ironside is a wrestling fan just like the rest of us, I'd imagine. I mean, I know that he is. And I'd imagine that everyone else in here is to some extent. I wouldn't believe Rhea if I were you. She's up to something. What? Huh? Chat. I think I missed something in that cutscene. I think I missed something in that sensual private time with Dominic Mysterio. Just wondering, have you been watching Cobra Kai? I don't know what... No. I've not, sorry. We missed lore? I think we missed crucial storytelling, chat. All because we had to boo Dominic out the building. Who would have known that he may have something important to say? I'll be on my guard. Sequel to the original Karate Kid. Okay. Well then, yeah, I've not. I'm sorry. Is it good? Is it good then? Oh, she got the fucking Tron, guys.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making her way to the ring from Kenya,
she's affiliated.
Kicks the earth like it owes her money. She's a role model.
She's a force of brutality and intimidation who stabs her friends in the back.
Shining Wizard, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, Rhea Ripley, and Gina. And I think Damian Priest still too. Yes. Slay, Queen.
It's almost time for a 120
I gotta know,
seconds
Chad, would
Cheetos
you let
break,
Gina
my
step on
dudes.
you like Rhea? Would you let Gina step on you like Rhea? A totally asexual question here. Would you let it? Would you let her? So who are we facing here?
Here comes.
Okay, Kitten Carter.
As energetic as she is, exciting to watch.
And from the Philippines,
Perhaps I would let her. Perhaps.
Winning college basketball standout, a bona fide athlete, and has continued her success in WWE.
All right, so
Plenty more success in her future.
so we're gonna need to run an ad, chat. I'm sorry.
Caden Carter has a
It's break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Raw rolls on after this. I couldn't run it during the break because for some reason Twitch wouldn't let me. Sorry.
The ape is back.
The ape is back, chat!
Donkey Kong Country.
In
What
Donkey
makes this
Kong
game so
Country.
remarkable is that it's the first game created with fully rendered graphics. What the heck is fully rendered? To put it in a nutshell, fully rendered means
So we
that
got
the
quite a few
characters and
people in
all
chat
other
tonight, I gotta
graphics
say.
were
Thank you all for
created by
coming
computer
by.
modeling from all sides and
Y'all are
angles of the
awesome.
objects. Thus,
Oh
animation is
my!
totally free and uninhibited using any view of the object. The technology is not incredibly different than that which was used to create the dinosaurs of Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park or the Wonders of the Mask. One of the best examples of the 3D rendering in this game is the water level.
Oh
The
boy,
shark,
chat.
also known
I'm
as
having fun
Tom
tonight.
Jr.,
Hopefully you all are
is
too.
an incredible sight. The animation of everything in the game, as well as all the
I'm thinking
backgrounds,
that-
were created with rendering techniques on the Silicon Graphics computer.
I can't
This
talk
amazing
over
technology,
George Woods
discovered at Rare
gushing
by
over
Nintendo
Silicon
25,
Graphics
will be the
computers.
next standard in video game animation and graphics.
Hello, Mario.
This technology marks a new era.
Fizz!
The programmers
Fizzy!
of Donkey Kong Country
The
were able to
Fizmus.
stretch their creative
Fizzimus?
minds since Donkey Kong
Is that how
doesn't
you go
have a
by now?
particularly detailed history. The main idea of the story is that you're trying to get back the bananas that were stolen from your
Fizzimus.
stockpile. Kong, Diddy are the main monkey characters, but throughout the
Is it
travel from the
Fizzimus
island
or
of
is it
Donkey Kong Country,
Fizzimus?
you'll
Like, is there
encounter
not
several characters
is
that
there
are
not as much
extremely
Om nom nom.
emphasis
Excuse me, we're
on the
back, my
I?
dudes.
Hey, welcome back to Raw. I played this game on the Switch to completion, and I know George talks about it, but this game felt really short. I mean, a lot of these games weren't very long back then. A lot of them still aren't, honestly.
Hundreds of bonus levels
A lot of these
result in
kinds
a
of
game
games
that will
aren't.
never be boring. The music also adds a lot to the game. Play it loud and stereo, dude.
It's very monkey feel. It's very monkey feeling.
If your Nintendo isn't hooked up to a stereo system. Cranky Kong remembers music in the old days, but Donkey Kong is truly with the times.
He's truly with the
His
times,
music is great
chat.
for listening.
The
Just pause
the
game
times
and hear
of
music without the game sound effects. Speaking of sound effects,
30 years
you'll
ago.
notice the quality of the echoes in the caves and Donkey Kong's ape noises. Donkey Kong Country is truly perfect. If you do not get this amazing new generation,
Not
of
as
Donkey
much
Kong
emphasis on the
madness,
I,
you
like
are
Fizzimus.
stupid.
Okay,
Yes,
Fizzimus.
I know that's insulting,
Got it.
but it's also the truth.
I
If
got
you're
you.
a true video game fan, you will not hesitate.
Donkey
in the
Kong is
slightest
with the
bit to
times,
every
dude.
wonderful piece of
Everybody,
video game history.
DK. Nobody? Okay, I'll do it. Donkey Kong. Hey. Donkey Kong is here. Bow. This cut goes down, so listen up.
Get it now. The graphics are an example of a revolution. Play control is very responsive and monkey feeling. The challenge
There it
high
is.
because you must often pass
Chat, what does it
several
mean to
hard
be
levels
monkey
reach the
feeling?
end save point. The
If you don't do the
two-player game
DK
option
rap,
is
you're a
awesome,
fake
since
fan.
you can press
Exactly.
A
In
to let another
20
player
listen,
play.
in 2024,
What's even cooler is the way the
in
game
2024,
lets the next player pick up where the last
if you
player
are
died
not
without interrupting gameplay.
if you're not
If you
doing the
want the other
DK
player to
rap, then
play,
you're not a
just
real
press A.
monkey feeling
These
man.
features and so much
Alright?
more make Donkey Kong Country the game of the decade.
And then there's Chunky. He's dead.
DK. Showcase DK. Realize this is probably my first time in your chat with my new name. It's been a few months, lol. I took a few months off to focus on coding. I still have quite a few ways to go on that, but it's coming along. I need to get back on the train with it. Right now, I'm kind of at the point where, like, if I fall off the wagon, it takes me a little bit to get back on it. You know? Tear apart Caden Carter with attacks until the damage meter is full. Alright, chat. Tear her apart, huh? You know who also tears things apart? Excuse me. Jesus, that was gross. Meta Ridley.
Rhea Ripley at ringside. Kaden is an egg, and she's in a battle with the frying pan and the fire.
So, Byron, in this breakfast analogy of yours, what does that make Dominic Mysterio?
The fork? Sorry, I thought that went all the way through. I felt the vibration of that one from all the way over here. What an elbow.
Big splash! Caden Carter looking helpless to every attack. Yeah, Caden needs to rethink her strategy fast.
Absolute domination here. This here's what you call domination.
That move had the amount of force akin to a natural disaster.
Counter from Carter.
That's not what she's called.
Time now for Caden to get her energy up and claw back into the fight. Avoiding contact.
Oh. Okay. Okay, you're cool. Domination, skill and concentrate, something, skill and concentration. Yeah, exactly. I'm glad that someone got it.
Just turn that around. They're trading back and forth blows now. Grabbing an item from under the ring is perfectly within the duties of being a manager. Oh, look at what they're gonna do. Oh, right to the face.
Right to the back of the neck.
And again. Enough. That's just a beat down.
She's looking highly.
Grab Caden in the ring. I walk alone.
Bobby is certainly teaching Caden Carter a lesson she'll never forget.
Officials separating them here.
Okay.
Vicious.
Oh. Okay. And back. I made porridge with cinnamon and a banana. And a nice cup of coffee. Ooh, that sounds good.
No question as to whether this superstar will resort to cheating.
What the? Hey.
What?
No!
Maybe Rhea didn't like Dom getting so close to her ally.
Nah, come on. Wow. Okay, well.
Showing her what true brutality looks like.
Well, I think we just lost out on the Judgment Day.
I'm not sure if Dom can stop Rhea Ripley if she has a
Dude, stop. What the? You see, now this right here. What the? I literally thought that they were gonna do. Ah!
With those brass knuckles.
Yeah, now she has no one. Now she has nobody. Just gonna lurk for a bit. I work for another hour. That's all good. It's all good, Fizziness. You have a good day at work, okay?
Question has been answered. Who gets custody of Dominic Mysterio? And this time, the answer, Rhea Ripley.
Go fuck yourself, Corey. I like this theme, so I'm just gonna kind of let it play for a second while I get a drink. I love a good domestic dispute. I made porridge with cinnamon and a banana and a nice cup of coffee. Mmm. I like me some oatmeal. My favorite breakfast food is actually like... Okay, so like... I didn't used to like eggs, right? I used to hate them. I used to throw up at them. But my favorite breakfast food? It's a good omelet, man. You put some ham and some onions. You saute those things and peppers as well. And maybe you add some paprika or some garlic in there. King shit. It's good. It's the best. It's the best thing ever. Oh, and also some cheese as well. You put some ham or some beef and some cheese, like with the vegetables and stuff. Saute them. And with just the right seasonings. It's great. I like to season, like, my eggs before I fry them, too, right? Like, I enjoy putting, like, you know, some pepper and garlic in there myself. I would love to do cooking streams at some point. That Dom tweet, LMAO. Let's check it out. Sorry, Gina, you were a good poppy, but I've always been more of a mommy's boy. Like I said, I don't get mad, I get even, and we're done. Man, that's all it took, huh? That's all it took. Well, I guess our baddie phase is almost done. Chat. It was fun while it lasted, but I think we're almost done there.
How's it going? Didn't really expect to run into you here. Was kind of just planning on waiting for my flight and listening to my book on tape.
No, I haven't been in touch lately.
Yep. That's definitely what's making this awkward. Not how mean and brutal you've been.
But did you see what Rhea did to me? Can you believe that?
Yeah.
I do follow the product, and yes. But did you really expect to steal Dom without any consequences?
I didn't steal anyone. Do you have any idea what it's like to have someone you trust betray you?
Yes.
You mean kind of like you did with Psycho Sally?
That's not my point.
Or that rookie Carly Prime?
Not helping.
Well, if it isn't the consequences of my actions.
Recently? I know you've got these big-time issues against the WWE Universe, but you should really stop and look at what you've become.
Someone with striking fashion sense?
You know there are more colors than black, right?
Black's not technically a color.
Not
okay.
my point.
I know it's not. I'm attempting to diffuse the situation.
Honestly, you could stand to diffuse this whole situation. Brutality has a time and place, but maybe it's not all the time and everywhere.
It's possible you have a point. But I also can't let Rhea's betrayal stand.
Well, I guess you don't have to drop the brutality right away. After all, sometimes soul-searching takes time. You might not find anything in that dark soul of yours until after you take care of Rhea Ripley.
I don't think I will.
Alrighty. This really is just, well, if it isn't the consequences of my actions coming home to roost. Go to hell, WWE Universe!
Mommy's walking solo tonight. But Poppy not letting her go without a...
Oh, we're back! We're back to the colors, chat, and the ears are back! Let's go! Hell yeah! We're back! Frick you, WWE Universe! Let's see what music we want to hear. I think Wild Pokemon Battle.
We got the big screens out in the arena so that the WWE Universe can see this brawl for themselves. Oh, listen, the last thing we're thinking about as an audience, if hate is
The ears. They're back, chat!
extremely intensely.
Whoa! The power of Rhea Ripley.
Punch connects. Catches a punch.
Alabama Slammer! Wow! Ow. Alabama Slammer! Okay. All right, chat. Do we want to try to do some fun stuff again? Up top? Ow! Oh no. Because Rhea has such a high overall, anything could really do us in. Up top, baby. You know it. Ooh, nice elbow. Show everyone that Gina is always on top. Dominator.
She's getting back to her feet, but is there fight left?
She needs to take like a nasty bump on like the side of this again. On like the side of this spotlight. Throw her through that window. Through the window. If you can actually, I don't know. I know that you can throw her through the spotlight. If we have any luck, the CPU won't get stuck in the wall again after going through the elevator. Because that was a legendary moment.
She adjusts it and reverses it. She has her target weighed and measured.
Oh shit, dude. Yeah! Woo! Jeez! My God! Good God Almighty! She killed her! As God is my witness, she is broken in half! God Almighty! God Almighty, she killed her! The last ride! The last ride! Wow. I want to see if you can put her through the window, actually. If I can, I'll try. The cops attempting rounding up for the attempted murder arrest. Ooh, hey, okay. You can break the window. Let's see if you can put it through her. Let's see if you can put her through it. Can you dump her through the window? I don't think you can put her through the window. Can you pick up a glass shard? No, you can't. A glass shard? I don't know. Maybe you could.
Oh God, right through the window. They're shattering glass everywhere.
They're shattering glass everywhere. This ain't AEW.
If this were AEW, then we would be pushing her through like through like a giant glass pane setup. See? Real glass! Cry me a river! Real glass, cry me a river. I like that. Ooh!
Saxton, you're wasting your time. These superstars don't care where this fight takes them. Oh, tossed aside.
Rhea and Gina fighting? It's over Dom. It's over Dom the Dum Dum, ain't it? It's honestly that, and also just the betrayal. Oh no. What the? Ooh!
I don't think they're worried about that right now. She's climbing to a new frontier here.
Card finisher? Can you do a card finisher? Up here. Up here, Rhea. The last ride. No!
Great response to
The last ride. Man. Ooh. Call me the Wambulance. See? Real ambulance. Cry me a river. You'll get to just walk away from me, Rhea Ripley. Fine, I'll walk all over you then. Oh boy, don't you. Remember, I taught you how to be brutal in the first place. You're playing in my sandbox. Sandbox? Your mistake is thinking this is still a game. I'm gonna end you at Clash at the Castle. You can ask yourself if I'm brutal enough when you're leaving the arena in an ambulance. You're on. You're also dead. Breaking! At King Regal has just made an ambulance match between Gina and Rhea Ripley official at Clash of the Castle. Well, chat, it looks like big pay-per-view hours. We finally made it to a pay-per-view! How about that, huh? Did you finish that on the ambulance? Did you finishing that on the ambulance influence the match? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that's just coincidence. So technically, she's no longer part of the Judgment Day, chat. She's no longer part of the Judgment Day, so I feel like she needs a new entrance, right? Unfortunately, it's Clash at the Castle. We're gonna have to go overseas. I think we can do it. Kaiju Killer. That's Samoa Joe. Give her Gira's drums. I like that, chat. No nonsense. Why not change up her look, too? Good point. There's supposed to be a towel there. I do like that. Like, give her new gear and all of that. Yeah, I hear ya.
World's strongest champion. How about that? Yeah, JD McDonough's champ entrance is pretty sweet, but it's also what we gave it's also what we gave Gira. Do we want to do the same thing? I'm fine with doing the same thing, chat. But I want to differentiate Gina a little bit from Gira. I'm down for that. She's paying homage. Sure. And also it points to the Long Boy Club stuff, too. I'm good for that. World's strongest? She's so massive. She's paying tribute to her brother from another mother. Oh no, they're biological siblings. Those turnbuckles can barely hold her. She's such a massive tower of a woman. Okay. I think we figured out what we want to do, right? Now that we're no longer in the Judgment Day, let's change things around. Someone got the tall jeans. Oh yeah, there's the drums. They brought it back? It's a shameful thing, Lobsterhead. I didn't even know they brought it back. Too many limes, chat. It's back. Okay, but like this actually like goes hard. I didn't even know they brought it back. Sweet. He's something like menacing for her.
It's almost time for a 120 seconds Cheetos break, my dudes.
I don't want to do the Cheetos break right now. But unfortunately, I need to, chat. I'm sorry.
It's break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Raw rolls on after this. So, I don't know why, chat, but for some reason the Stardust theme is just in my head. Right?
Toe ball number 1 is a shockingly
God damn it. Okay, I'll be right back.
There.
For some reason the Stardust theme is in my head. I just want to see what it looks like with her, okay?
Seems like a rush job of the worst kind.
Allow me to satisfy this part of my brain, please.
Too long to conquer, and the play control stinks. Most fighting games use the up button.
Allow me to satisfy the monkey part of my brain.
Uses L, which is an awkward button to begin with and is hardly ever used in games. Your kicks and punches don't often connect with the enemy when you're right in front of them. It's hard to move around the arena. Need I go on? The quest mode has the worst control of all. Like Batman Forever.
I need to see her coming out to Stardust. I do too.
Hard to memorize and totally ridiculous button combinations are required to perform even
It's just for some reason it's in my brain.
To simply stop running, you must press R1 rather than just letting go of the control pad. Who the heck let that one slip by?
And yeah, once we
play control,
do that, then we're gonna give her a bit. Then we're gonna give her some pay-per-view gear. Okay.
Quest mode, where you explore a 3D dungeon, is fun to play, but it's fairly simple to figure out. The play control makes it hard, though, as you must jump over rolling logs on occasion, and once you die, you die. You have one
The
life,
end, chat.
Om nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Hey, welcome back to Raw.
They are remarkably undetailed and basic looking, hardly convincing as futuristic. Yet the opening cinema scene is absolutely outstanding. Just another example of a PlayStation game with superficial fluff hiding a piece of junk inside. We haven't given a review this bad since, well, maybe never, but I don't think we've ever played
I'm gonna
a
stretch
game
real
this
quick,
bad
chat. Give me a
before.
second.
It seems Square is truly square, in the head, blockheads. Okay, that's our weak attempt at a joke, but seriously, don't even rent this game. Don't even look at it. The game is totally unacceptable for even die-hard street fighting fans. There's not much more we can say. We've actually covered everything. The game is too short as well, as if it wasn't bad enough already. The ending to the tournament mode is the same for every character, except for who walks down the red carpet to receive the trophy. That, of course, depends on the character. Duh. Here's an uncut ending with a different character. Notice how it's the same.
I don't know, chat. Kind of fits for her. This feels like boss music, doesn't it? I'm fucking with it. I think we do it. Okay. I think we got it. Okay, but how does it look with... Yes. I fucks with it too. Because Gina is the boss, the final boss. This is what happens when you fuck with the final boss. God, even this works. Hold on. Let's try it one more time. Yeah. She's feeling this shit hard. Too bad we can't throw Longboy Club logo on the Tron. I think we can, actually. But that had to be something that we did before we started the playthrough. Because now we can't, like, retroactively do it. Alright, what are we gonna do with this, then? I think we did that for the Longboy Claw, if I'm not mistaken. We did that a long time ago. Back when I first started, like, doing these. The Stardust theme is strange. It is! I think I made a Titantron for him. Can't remember. You might have. So I think for her, it's gonna be a mix of, like, gold and purple. Alright, chat? Let's just see how it looks. It fits. If it fits, we sits. Gold like the gold of a giraffe, baby. Exactly. Exactly. Ooh, Stardust light show? Let's see. Wait, does Stardust have a light show? Stardust does not have a light show. I think it fits anyways. Ah, that's so good. Okay, now we gotta give her some pay-per-view gear, chat. This is her first pay-per-view match, right? It's gotta go hard. I'm gonna copy all this over, so that way we don't have... You don't have ring attire. To set up entrance attire, please set up ring attire first. Like, okay. I'm gonna copy and paste both of these here, okay? Now for this first one, I don't think we need to go all that crazy. So Discord is on fire and I have no idea what's going on. What do you mean it's on fire? What's happening? Oh, I thought that you were, talking about, like, the Discord server, and I'm just like, wait, what? What do you mean it's on fire? What's going on there? I think it's time that, about time that we give her a little bit of, cool gear here, chat. That's what we have right now. I have zero clue what's happening. Nothing's loading for me either. It's weird. So I'm not really too sure, like, what the angle of this should be, chat. Should be something like this, and where it's like a suit, and where it's like a whole, like, suit thing. Because that's my first instinct. But then again, the whole suit thing's kind of lame. Oh my goodness gracious. Is there like a half suit option? A half suit option? I'm not sure. I think we need to see her spots. I'm not sure. I think we need to see her spots, if you catch my drift. Yes. This isn't Saudi. We don't need to cover her up. That's true. But I feel like we need to, like, go kind of extravagant, right? That's the Stacy Keebler thing. What is this? It's got some jungle vibes to it, I think. Right? I'm a fan.
Spare serotonin, please.
Thanks. I have restocked. Incredible. Savannah styling. Exactly. What the heck is that? Those are like spikes. Wait. Chat. Those are like tusks. Those are like the tusks of like an elephant. Oh my god. Oh baby. And that's like the blood there, dude. That's good. That's actually real good. I like that. I like that. Oh, yeah, I'm fucking with this. I can fucks with that. Carbon fiber? I like the glitter, chat. I'm going with the glitter. I'll do the pearl here for this. Again, we're just going, like, completely extravagant with this. It says you mess with Gina, you get the long leg of justice. So true. This is so much. Wow. Oh no. Chat, the angle. I got it. It's gotta be brutality, right? It's gotta be like brutal shit. I love the long leg of justice, honestly. That's a good shout. It's like she's covered in the vines, chat. And what about the lower body? About wrestling tights. That's a lot. It's gotta be functional still. I like the gears so far. You're cooking, I fear. I'm glad. The fact there hasn't been thought of till now, or I haven't seen till now, it's like a crime. That's awesome, though. The long leg of justice is great. So wait, if we're doing like a big brutal ambulance match, shouldn't we be coming in like fucking just ready to go to work? Right? Isn't that what we should be doing? Like, the wrestling stuff. Obviously that's good, right? But like, we're about to put a woman in the hospital. We gotta go in there ready to put in work. So I think that Gina's gotta go in there ready for fucking combat. Right? And what says combat better than combat boots? Right, chat? This is gonna be such a crazy fit. Wow. Like this. I think that's what we gotta do, chat. Kick pads, I don't think we need those. But the fucking pants, we're going in there and we're gonna fucking do it, okay? No, you gotta tuck them in.
The jeans fit goes hard, dude. Honestly, I think it goes. Oh, that kind of looks like mom on Sunday. That kind of looks like your church mom on a Sunday. Like, we gotta get in there like we're about to fucking tackle with, like, the Carhartt khakis and shit like that, you know? Like that. White pants. Carbon fiber white pants. You're so right, though. This fit makes it look like that she was kind of planning things out, and then, like, partway through, she was like, I'm gonna be just, like, glamorous while I do this. Right? God, she's so ripped. Let's try it. I don't know about that. Is she the Taker Shawn Michaels with all this white? Well, it's supposed to get, like, violent, right? You go into these violent matches with white clothes so that the blood shows. Although the women don't bleed in this game, which is stupid. What the fuck is this? That is insane. I'm sorry, chat. I'm thinking. I'm trying to cook you up a meal here. Is this stupid? Is this a little too... This a little too stupid for what we're doing? Is the skull a little bit just kind of lame? All the John Cena shirts. I like the fire, chat. Give her a shirt on the entrance, but not the ring. Okay, got it. That's actually probably the right play. But, like, something feels like it's missing here, right? She needs to show off how ripped she is. You're right. Wait, hold on. Let me just show off the gun show. Alright. So what is she gonna wear out to the ring then? This woman makes Jay Cargill look like she's doing weekend gym trips. You're so right, though. What does it say on here? Eradicator? Pingus? Oh. Oh, GG. I swear to God, I didn't think that said Pingus, chat. I'm actually just stupid. I'm actually just stupid. I wish there could be a robe without Queen. Well, let's see here. Wait, what's this? Oh, this is a Miz thing, isn't it? Let's see what options we have, okay? Let's see what options we have. We have a big coat. That fur thing you were just on could go hard. This thing? This is the pelt of Rhea Ripley. Chainmail headpiece like Scott Steiner. Big Game Hunter Gina. Oh, that's so good. That's an incredible way to frame it. Hold on. What's the pelt, though? Oh! I love that. I love that. You sold me, chat. You fucking sold me on that. Right. Oh, I likey. I don't know about that. Jushin Thunder Liger. Oh! That goes a little hard.
It's almost time for a 120 seconds Cheetos break, my dude.
I enjoy kind of like the Nordic thing we got going on here a little bit. Here, I'm gonna tell him to shut up. I'm a big fan of the Nordic thing that we got going on here. She's a fucking huntress. That's kind of Conan the Barbarian. Viking Gina. I like it.
I'll take it. Viking. I fucks with it. Okay, I think we have enough up top. But now we need, like, stuff at the bottom here. Well, it makes her look like a princess. Talk. Gertie. She's going into battle. Oh! Chat. Chat. Do we have something here? I think we got something. Oh, yeah. Chat, we're cooking so hard all of a sudden. Wow. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty fucking good. But also, like, the green of the Savannah rain. The only thing that I'm kind of thinking about is, like, what about the long boy stuff? Are we just not doing that now? I guess we could just not do it for one pay-per-view. It's fine. That's it, I'm pestering my brother today to let me on the PS5 to play this game again, lol. Do a GMO playthrough with cause made by us. I don't think that's a terrible idea. I think that'd be kind of cool. I feel like gloves would go hard, chat. I'm not gonna lie, I think that for this occasion, gloves would go hard. You have a good night, Husky. My only thing is I don't know how quick I would begin to it, you know? The Stardust glove. Alright, I'm gonna get the gloves again. That's okay, it gives us more time to perfect them anyway. I think that would be fun. I honestly think it would be. Wait, nails? Oh no, they're so right, chat. We forgot this. I love the painted nails. No, now we're getting into like the weeds of it, and these are not the weeds I want to get into. It's not quite the weeds I want to get us into right now.
It's almost time for a 120 seconds Cheetos break, my dude.
A Cheetos break. Goes so hard too. Where's it from? It feels familiar. This is from Sonic Lost World. Let's see bottom segue. From Sonic Lost World. I'm a big Sonic guy. I'm a big Sonic guy. Hold on. Let's run an ad.
It's break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Raw rolls on after this. God, I love creating characters with all of you. This is one of my favorite things to do on stream.
Final Doom from Williams is a game,
that
that
chews you up and spits you out.
Like any Doom game,
Ah, they
Final
cooked that
Doom is
Sega with that
invincible,
one. They did.
Indestructible, impossible,
And the game isn't too hot, but the music
We're
is.
going to try to be clever for the rest of this review. Don't have a cow once you figure out.
That song
what
was
to say.
oddly fitting while I was
Final Doom
fighting
is just
Tempered
more of the
Kieran
same old Doom
in,
shoot 'em
in
up
World.
action that has spawned countless clones in the video game industry.
Why is that?
The same Doom enemies that inhabited all the other Doom games of this Doom series are also in this Doom game. Doom it, we're sick of all these Doom bloody games with more Doom gunshots in 1 minute than we would otherwise hear in a lifetime. We're sick of all the Doom groans of the dead demons and the people you must shoot in the game. Doom it. These games make you Doom crazy, especially since they're
The most
so
obvious
Doom
one where he's
hard.
reading a script.
Normally, challenge is good, but not in this Doom game. Hardcore Doomers will be in Doom
Hardcore
Nirvana.
Doomers?
The game is actually 3 games in 1. Master levels from the internet, plutonium,
No way,
and
dude.
TNT.
Same.
All are extremely difficult. Hidden in the instruction booklet is a password that gives you all of the game's weapons. But even with that little gem, you will fail miserably. Don't worry, we're not going to Doom Williams, but let's just say it's time to put this series to rest.
Well,
of course, we may end up eating crow once Doom 64 comes out. And I mean Doom as in Doom in that instance.
Om nom nom.
If you think
Oh,
that all
excuse
these
me, we're
Dooms are
back,
bad,
my dudes.
Wait till you
Hey,
find
welcome
out
back to
what
Raw.
BFG stands for. The BFG 9000 is the biggest gun in the game. If Williams sees this segment, they will either A, laugh at all the Doom Dooms, B, put us on their to-doom list, C, doom us to Hades, or D, not do one Doom thing.
So how do you feel after that, chat? Do you feel like your life has been enriched by Mr. Wood there? That track was oddly fun listening to while fighting Kieran. Doomity doom doom. Doom it. Alright, chat. Here we go. I think we're ready for the pay-per-view. What do you say? We're ready for Clash at the Castle, and then I think we're done for the night. Depending on what comes next. Because, that whole process probably took us like 45 minutes, I think. Which is honestly quick, for how much we usually do for this. Time to clash some castles. Let's go to the match. Hey, I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear, but I'm sorry about everything. Maybe not the last person I want to hear from, but the last person I expected to hear from. I can't believe I let my emotions get the best of me like that. There's no excuse. I'm gonna reach out to Carly too. I hope you can forgive me. Are you gonna beat the daylights out of Rhea? That's the plan. Do that, then we'll talk. Your terms are fair. Consider it done. Coming in with a brand new attitude, chat. It's time to put Rhea Ripley in her place. Live on pay-per-view, it's Clash at the Castle.
Here's the captain walking in and hoping to be walking out.
Let's do it. Let's just admire the entrance, chat.
Making her way to the ring from Kenya.
One of these women is leaving this building in an ambulance.
And the other is going to be known as the most ruthless, brutal competitor in WWE.
Big game hunter, Gina.
Sit back and enjoy the violence, boys. This one's personal.
That was perfect, actually.
Ladies and gentlemen, mommy's home. Here comes Rhea Ripley.
An ambulance match might be a bit overwhelming, but the strange thing is, I think this woman sees it as an opportunity.
Oh, it definitely is an opportunity, Cole. She's going to show the entire women's division that she is the most dominant competitor around. And the first woman to learn that lesson is going to learn it while headed to a local medical facility.
It's, yeah, like, Rhea Ripley when she started compared to now is practically unrecognizable.
Rhea Ripley is coming for her competition tonight.
Look at my eyes.
The following contest is
Also, Angie Steph bopping to the music is so cute. What can I say? It's good. It's big metal. It's big metalcore. Here we go. This is awesome. This is awesome. You know what? We're gonna fucking do some boss music here, chat. I think that this is World Circuit. Oh! Defeat Rhea Ripley. Simple as that.
Coming down hard on the smaller, almost dagger-like knee. Oh my, what a splash!
Oh, this is a broken limb match. It's an ambulance match, brother.
That is a showing of power that none of us saw coming.
Down with force. Big Mass comes crashing down at full force.
We're just doing the chops immediately, chat.
Big shots being fired right now. Neither competitor letting up. So much pride, so much resiliency on display. You can feel the contact, and so does the WWE Universe. Who will break first? That is the question.
The willpower, the sheer guts of these two.
Discouraging results for Ripley right here.
Can Ripley recover from this adversity?
Pump handle slam.
Handle suplex.
Come on.
Just went a barrage of stops. Oh, man.
You're a women's champion? You're a women's champion for a year and change? Come on, Rhea. I thought you had a little more fight in you. I figured you would have a little more fight in you, Rhea.
Hey, we're all getting free tickets to the gun show.
Fuck yeah, you are. The gun show is here in... Shit, what city are we in, chat? Like, what European city are we in? I have a feeling this is gonna be a long match, chat. The last ride.
Now is when she's got to do it. Throw her in the ambulance and shut the
Edinburgh, Scotland, I think. Okay, but like this is the same one from like a year before, right?
It's looking like this.
Where would you want it to take place, chat?
Doing their best just to shut that first door.
We'll be locked inside this meet. One more door to end this carnage.
inches away from ending this one. They're about to win this ambulance match.
Ooh!
What resolve.
Better than Utopia, duh. Oh, so we're in Wisconsin then? Of course. Filthy traitors. Come on, Rhea, give me something to work with here. Shutting the doors being a quick time event. Didn't expect that. Yep, that is how this match works. So yeah.
And what need is there to go looking under the apron like this?
Bat. Uh-oh. Well, electric chair. The strength of Rhea Rip. Oh, face planted. Rejoined a union, but they still use the euro. Good. We don't want them using our money. Come on.
Sharp jab. Series of strikes to the back. Closing the door saying, I am nowhere near done with you. She's pumping herself up, reaching out for that burst of energy. And she slides her back to the mat.
Come on, Rhea, give me something.
She's getting something from under the ring.
What would Dom say if he saw you like this? A complete shadow of what you are. Seen as like a stealth bomber. Indestructible. My God. Wow. Rhea's kind of dog shit, chat, because you can't see him. Exactly. Rhea, she is like a stealth bomber because you can't see him. Yes. Classic moment. Jeez! You're gonna give me something to work with here, Rhea? Anything?
Taking it to the floor, what's she gonna do? Climbing up to the top of the ambulance. No good to come from this. She's got the high ground on top of the ambulance.
Come on. Oh, she wants to fight, huh? What the?
And there is nothing but unforgiving steel on the roof of the ambulance.
No, Riptide.
That's it. That's gotta do it. The engine's running and the ambulance is ready to go.
Whoa. Uh-oh. Holy shit, indeed. Is she gonna try and powerbomb? Powerbomb off the ambulance! Whoa! And a splash! Holy shit! Why has the European ambulance got an American flag on it? Because Wisconsin has unrealized trauma.
Looking for something, anything under the ring. She grabbed this sledgehammer and she's looking to do some permanent damage.
Oh! Is that all you got? Another last ride. Wait, on the steel? Ooh! Her elbow clipped the sides of those steel steps.
Swinging those ambulance doors open could have one thing in mind.
Man, you sick fuck.
being taken apart and might be getting a look at their ultimate fate right now.
I think we're good, chat.
Trying to at least slam one door shut. First door. Pushing with everything they've got.
No! Rhea! What the hell?
Shut the door and call it a night. That's another focus. This is a hell of a struggle. Just trying to close one door. Halfway to victory if they can do it.
Oh my god! Ooh!
Miraculous. Hoist their opponent all the way.
The gun show is on full display here at Scotland. Yeah! Yeah!
Look at this, just stop. She was clearly waiting for that. Oh, she's up to no good.
Ooh! That's it. I learned it from you, Rhea. Now die.
Just carrying the opposition anywhere they want.
That's a lesson brutality you'll never forget. Now, it's off to the hospital for you. Little callback to Rhea's betrayal, I know.
Shut the door, seal their fate.
What the fuck?
And they're not ready to let this end just yet.
Wow.
Fight to be had. There's return fire on Rhea. And now gets tossed into the ring.
You have the audacity to still do this. Fine. Power bomb in the ring. Power bomb.
That might have just been the deciding factor in this match. Nothing's decided until someone ends up in the back of that ambulance and those doors shut.
Oh no. The carnage in this match has been so much to handle. My God, the carnage.
Things look dire for Rhea. Lifting them up.
Discus punch.
Discus punch. Oh my goodness. From the ground.
Running power slam.
Letting her opponent know she is ready for anything.
Another one. Another one. Concussion.
Taking this to the floor. Hold on a second. Once those doors shut, has no intention of ending things just yet.
Actually, I do, but you know, I wanted to pick up my bat.
Success in this ambulance.
No! No, 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 no!
Personal view of their ride out of this arena.
No!
Trying to force the first door closed. We've got a Herculean struggle on our hands.
Spare serotonin, please.
Please, I need the serotonin! Or else Rhea's gonna beat me! Okay.
Ripley in a surprising bit of danger. Ripley has to stop struggling. Backbreaker. She's trying to bait her in, but I would not get near her now. Saw it coming and got out of there. I'm on their shoulders.
Samoan drop.
Wow.
And the damage is just going to keep on coming if you can't find the defense for this.
Who did that? No! 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 Okay, okay, okay. Giraffe-rig. Giraffe-rig just completely fucked me up. Sorry, I was trying to do pats. That's fine.
Spare serotonin, please.
Thank you.
And that was a well-executed attack.
Fuck it. We're gonna try and put her in there right now.
Head first into the ambulance appears to be completely defenseless right now.
Spare serotonin, please.
We're gonna try to put her in there right now, chat. Fuck! I can't do it, chat. My mashing arm just won't let me. I do one more.
Spare serotonin, please.
Oh, thank you. I gotta do one more power bomb. No! 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 No!
Hello, Mario.
No! Stop!
That should do it. Any moment now, she'll be in the back of that ambulance saying, "Good night, nurse."
No, please. Please!
And now getting posted up in front of the ambulance doors, just motionless here.
No! No!
Doing their best just to shut that first door.
No. No!
Trying to close the second door and win the match. Inches away from victory.
No!
And they're not ready to let this end just yet. Still more.
Last ride. Last ride.
Emergency personnel is ready. Stop them in and close that ambulance door. Getting carried around, bad spot to be in.
Lawn darted in. Let's end this.
Desperately halfway home now.
Spare serotonin, please.
Oh my god, we still have the same victory animation. We need to change that. Oh! We did it! We did it! We did it! The sound guy pressed the wrong button. Oh. Right. My god. Okay. We need to change the victory animation. Stardust, where are you? Oh my god. We did it, chat. We did it. We did it. Oh my god, goodness gracious me. How much time have we been in? We've been in almost 4 hours, chat. That's crazy. Mick Foley! Alexa Bliss. Liv Morgan. Oh, we have a lot here. Hey. What's up?
Are you regretting letting me have free reign over my career yet?
You and Miss Ripley were formidable together, but I don't scare quite that easily. After all, I embraced brass knuckles before either of you were born.
That may be the case, but I should still apologize for all that.
No need to apologize. I just hope you managed to work some things out and found some of what you were looking for, and the strength to continue the journey.
We need more pay-per-views under our belts. We have one pay-per-view. I enjoy how these storylines end in pay-per-views, though. I just kind of wish that there were some B-level pay-per-views in between. So that way it's not just 3 months worth of Raw, and then we get onto a a pay-per-view. It doesn't make sense in my head. After their epic clash at Clash at the Castle, is the biggest menace on Raw changing her colors? What's next for Gina? What is next for Gina? Hey, maybe don't let Rhea know I reached out to you, but if you ever need a +1, I'm around. Don't worry, bro. You are needed more on SmackDown. You need to roll with Shining Lizard for a little bit, okay? She never changes her spots. Nope. She may shed her Yes. Good. Man. Woo, boy. What a match. It was hard, actually. That was hard. How much more do we have? Battling around. Take to the streets. Wait, you get... Huh? Evil is pain. Hip cat hangout. Heavy is the head of WWE GM. That's crazy. Wow. Wow, okay. Mick Foley. Chat. Jeez. That's crazy. That was the absolute most
It's almost
insane
time
shit
for a
ever.
120 seconds Cheetos break, my dudes.
My arm is very tired. I think that we're about ready to call the night, chat. And then we'll kind of... After break, we'll talk about what we're going to do from here, okay? Sound good?
It's break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Raw rolls on after this. Wow. Of course it's this.
Game ever from Disney Interactive is Toy Story. When you pop in this game, the first thing you notice is
Immediate sensory just like
the
overload.
character you control in the game. The Toy Story movie was done with Silicon Graphics computers, and the instruction booklet says the game's graphics were created with the
I
same
need to like take a minute to breathe, chat. Is that fine?
blockbuster movie. We don't know, however, if the game actually used silicon graphics.
I gotta take a minute to like breathe after that because that was insanity.
They were only used for character animation because the backgrounds do not have the detailed quality graphics of Donkey Kong Country.
That almost got me.
Game player knows Donkey Kong Country was created with silicon graphics computers and doesn't have edging problems. What's even more strange is that Woody is the only character with edging problems. All the other
Oh my
characters
gosh.
look great. The game's packaging box advertises an intensely 3D experience, but that statement is a bit misleading because the gameplay, although varied, is often two-dimensional.
Gina is that
Why did
bitch.
Disney Interactive use silicon graphics computers for the entire game? Were they too expensive? I don't think so. Come on. Big Disney is one of the richest corporations in the country. Let's be
Big
real.
Disney.
The only explanation we can think of is that Disney Interactive did not use SGI computers because the graphics could not be handled by the Genesis for the Genesis version. Maybe that's why the game has nowhere near as many colors and detailed graphics as Donkey Kong.
Om nom nom.
However,
Oh, excuse
even
me,
that
we're back,
explanation
my
doesn't seem
dudes.
plausible because
Hi,
Disney
chat.
would
Welcome
be
back to
insane
Raw.
pass up the chance of creating another Donkey Kong Country. Besides, the Genesis
I
version
cannot
and the Super
believe
NES
that we
version
got
don't
this
have to be
one
exactly
over
the
all
same.
the other
So what's
ones.
the big deal? Disney certainly has the money to make another Donkey Kong Country, but unfortunately, they blew it.
I guess we'll see who's available to raid while we wait for this to go because I don't want to.
Why did the Toy Story video
I don't want to talk over the sultry tones of one George Wood, yes, of one George Wood.
We have to say about this game is about the play control. In the third level, players will start foaming at the mouth when they can't jump up to the rope at the top of the screen. No matter how fancy you get in trying to bounce off the ball and up to the rope, you will most likely not reach the darn thing. This kind of play control flaw is inexcusable, since Disney should have noticed it and fixed it. Realistically, you could end up trying 20 times to get Woody to grasp that stupid rope before you actually get it. You might get so mad at Toy Story that you may want to slam Doom into your
We were
Super
talking about
NES and
Sonic
take out your
earlier.
anger by
Do
shooting
we want to
Donkey
raid
Kong.
into Pinch?
Then again, Doom
I
is
know
an
that
extremely difficult
it looks like they're
game,
playing
so it
Shadow
might just make the
Generations.
problem worse. You might think we come down hard on Toy Story. Well, we admit we have. It's a shame, though.
Do we all have fun tonight at least? I hope so, because I had a lot of fun.
By the impossibly high challenge level. Toy Story is too difficult.
How
like
fucking
Lion
long
King.
is this one?
Fortunately for you, though, we've discovered two awesome ways to cheat in Toy Story.
Chat.
In the first level, bounce
I
off the
hate.
first beach ball you see and land on the bottom drawer of
Listen. I'm tired. So if I could, I'm going to just cut him off for a second, okay? Because I kind of want to talk about like how we're gonna try to approach next week, okay? Next week, I'm thinking that. Hold on, Robbed. Listen. Okay, how about this? How about this? I'm gonna give you a bonus Gitsy, okay? I'm gonna give you one in its place. Here it is. It's just Ice Age 2. Ah! You suck. Is this a good enough consolation, chat? If I give you Ice Age? Ow. Genuinely, though, I want to talk for a second. I'm thinking next week we try something a little different, okay? Because I've been wanting to get back to, like, role-playing games for a while. And I'm thinking that maybe, now that I have a PS5 copy, we can try Yakuza Like a Dragon again. It's something I tried to play many years ago, and I couldn't do it, because at the time I didn't expect my PC to not be able to run it whilst also streaming to Twitch at the same time. So, I'm thinking that maybe we could try it again, but this time with hardware that works. I was a part of that back then. Nelson was a part of it back then. And if he would like, then he could be a part of it again, because he was a Yakuza fan long before I was, and he knows more about the series than me. So maybe it would be kind of fun. I mean, especially like with this, especially like with a role-playing game where like there's only so much varied gameplay. It would be nice to have a co-com throughout it. So maybe I get him on and we run this shit back, but this time we do it for real. How about that, chat? Let me look up how long it takes to beat Yakuza Like a Dragon. Because as much as I would like to do it, I want to make sure that we have time for other things, too. How long to beat? About 45.5 hours, so let's maybe double that, right? Let's maybe double that. Because I'm probably going to want to do side things. All Yakuza games are pretty long. I think, you know what? I think we're up to it, chat. I think that we're tuned enough for it. And Yakuza Like a Dragon could be in our future. We could do that or Dragon Quest. It's one of the two. I'm thinking